Hello and welcome back for Game 3, where 100 Thieves and Clutch are tied at 1-1. That's right, we got a series on our hand, and I don't think a lot of us expected the game to go that way. As Dash said, 6K in 3 minutes at the end of the game for Clutch Gaming to turn that one on its head.
Yeah, one mistake there from 100 Thieves, called out by Clutch Gaming, and now we're sitting at 1-1, and the winner of this gets double match point. And if you're 100 Thieves who finished first in the regular season, you're sitting there going, we messed up. But if they mess up again against Clutch, their backs are up against the wall. And this team that came in as the last seed in playoffs in Clutch Gaming could potentially be in the finals off 2 upsets.
And it is always the risk you run when you play that sort of style. When you want to play extremely slow, when you want to wait for a Baron, when you're not going for a lot of fights earlier, that one big fight, if you mess it up, can often mean the game. Because the later you get, the more those fights are worth, the more that can be capitalized on afterwards. And, you know, yes, it worked out in Game 1. It did not in Game 2. Interested to see if 100 Thieves wants to play that same slow, measured style, or if they want to try to pick up the pace a bit, because that feels like that's where Clutch is comfortable. And at the same time, also very interested to see where they're going to go with the Cho'Gath, because somebody has been consistently getting advantages in that 1v1 in the top lane over solo with that Sion, taking turrets, pushing him in, and that's something they might want to change.
And speaking of changes here, in this best of 5, we saw Clutch Gaming previously up against TSM change things up constantly and then take the advantages that were working for them before and just keep using them. And we've seen Prolly as well kind of do the same thing for 100 Thieves. This is the first best of 5 that we're seeing this team in ever. And so we want to see the adaptations here. We've seen that Clutch can do it, but we need to see on top of it what 100 Thieves are going to be able to do with it. Because I think their comps have been smart. I think it's been the play around it that has been their demise in that game too. So I wouldn't change too much if I'm 100 Thieves, but Clutch, on the other hand, I would try to disrupt the plan of 100 Thieves.
Now, is that plan too, because I remember we were talking about, you know, the Cho'Gath is providing a problem. Sunday is able to just basically do whatever on it, but they gave him Olaf Cho'Gath twice and focus the bottom lane. Are they saying that's all right, or is it still something we feel like they may want to nip in the bud?
I still feel like it's not right, because regardless, you won that game, right? But it was still uphill battle there. The Cho'Gath was taking turrets by himself. The inevitability that he might take more was on the horizon, and so I think it's still something you really just shouldn't want to see.
And I mean, it's 2 games in a row that he took a solo turret, you know, 1v1, first turret in Game 2, was almost first turret in Game 1 as well. Like, that is a pretty costly deficit to just accept you're going to give up every single time. So I would be interested to see if Clutch is going to try to grab that Cho'Gath a little bit earlier, perhaps, or try to take it away from their opponents.
Well, we will find out right meow. Tulia and Rise knocked out by Clutch Gaming, as we have Thresh and Azir getting that out from Febvin. We said the plays could be made, and definitely puts them on the board last game.
And right here, 100 Thieves, they banned GP in the last game, or I guess in Game 1 when they were blue side. And GP was banned by Clutch there, so yes, it's the same bans for 100 Thieves. Clutch Gaming would have to ban Swain here if they wanted to have exactly the same bans as last time.
Pain in the Swain. Looks like there is the Caitlyn for Cody Sun. He feels a little bit better. Still actually not playing up to kind of regular par for the course, I'd say, for himself. We saw the nets backwards in his first Caitlyn game, and a little relying on Alphamu a little more than usual, but it's back to the Ashe as well for solo, so we're going to get this replay here from the bot lane.
This is different, though, because so far the picks and bans have been exactly the same as Game 1, except right here, Clutch picked Trundle, and then 100 Thieves picked Olaf Orianna. So they're taking away the Orianna here themselves after banning out 3 mid laners plus the Azir from 100 Thieves from before.
I like these mid laners saying blind pick it. That's all right. We know I can play against this guy. He can play against me. We can blind pick the matchup and make it skill. Meteos does go back for his 3rd Olaf game.
And with that Olaf being locked in, there's certainly the possibility of going back to the Trundle jungle here, I think, which would be a pretty nice option there for Lyra. It does make it a little bit less aggressive, but Cassio getting locked in for Ryu would mean a bit of a mid lane advantage, I think, for Febvin. Can be a pretty tough matchup.
Ooh. They've been trying to stop Ryu from roaming, though. Okay. The Rise,
Olaf Galio.
Bans, just trying to make sure that he can't leave the lane, and this Galio is something that we really don't get to see a whole lot anymore. It comes up every now and then, but with the bans on the table, yeah, they're going to pick it up, and this will give Ryu side lane pressure.
And you really can follow up on Meteos diving deep. You pop the Ragnarok, you pop the Predator, you're running from the back line. When you have low mobility carries like the Orianna, like the Ashe, who did not have their move blocks, if you can get in on top of them, bring in the Galio, that can be very, very tough to deal with. And it's not going to be Lyra on the Trundle. He will go back to the Skarner. He won again last game. Was not the most dominant performance by any means, but that did move him to 6-0 on the champion. So still undefeated, looking for 7 straight wins here.
He wants to get that Skarner tax back on him.
Yeah.
Every game.
He's trying to surpass Captain Flowers.
Has Captain Flowers ever won 7 games in a row on
I don't know.
Skarner?
Maybe. We'll get stats on it.
Oh, yeah.
To be number 1, I think at some point he may have. Morgana Camille gets knocked out as some of the ladies of the Rift will not see play in here in Game 3. What do we got from Clutch Gaming? One final ban here as D-Lim stands behind his team that has made great strides here throughout the spring split.
Yeah. Potentially Cho'Gath unless you're going to pick it yourself. The
Tom Gath.
Bench. Okay. Making sure they can't eat people out of the Ash arrows becomes very annoying.
We might be just setting up for the exact same top lane matchup again, because this is where Clutch has been drafting the Scion blind, and then 100 Thieves has been responding with the Cho'Gath. Clutch could just go blind Cho'Gath, but I think Someday is a player who's more likely to try to counterpick that. We've seen the Darius.
Exactly.
He can play some of the more aggressive picks like Jace and these sorts of things as well, which can give that problems. So I wouldn't mind seeing the adaptation from Clutch, though. I do think you don't want Solo to just be kind of like auto-losing his lane every single time.
Yeah.
And now if they pick this here, it means they're going to be blind picking their support for first time on red side here. And yeah, Clutch, they're going to give up Hakuho's pick to protect Solo, who's been losing that top lane matchup, like you said.
The Alistar is a bit interesting to me, though, because when I look at the 3 champions on the board right now, it doesn't feel super compelling. It doesn't feel like there's any champions that you're really, really looking for. And as you said, Braum is still available, so you can get a tanky support, which can make it more difficult for the Alistar. But we'll have to find out. I mean, it's a lot of CC, certainly, on the team here from Clutch. And while the QSS tax may be paid, there's Ash Arrow, there's the Alistar combo, there is the Skarner stun plus ultimate, so you can't QSS everything.
I love the Cho'Gath in that pick. You just chomp down on Alistar if he comes in.
It can't be Scion now. Like, you have to think that Clutch is not just going to switch up their order and then just pick Scion into this losing matchup again. So I'm expecting some sort of an adjustment, but the question remains, what do they actually look for? Do they have the confidence in Solo to play, one of these tough matchups? And it is going to be Gnar, but I've got to say, I've not been impressed with Solo's Gnar this season. One of the reasons is simply, if you're not going to play around Solo, as Clutch Gaming never does, then this is not a champion that is scaling as well, right? If you're just going to allow him to sit in lane and get picked on and lose lane, the Cho'Gath is going to be worth more in the game later than that of the Gnar. Gnar needs to be winning matchups, needs to be pushing in and bullying out lanes, and we'll see if Solo's going to be able to do that or not. Because if it does just become a farmed out stalemate, I still think Someday will have the advantage.
Yeah, and even if it ends up being that stalemate, like you said, Someday has the advantage. And even on top of that, if Solo ever pressures, Ryu has side lane pressure. He's going to bring teleport. He has the ultimate there to just go ahead and help those side lanes out. And this becomes a really interesting match because there's even more on Cody Sun's shoulders here for 100 Thieves. It's pretty much the biggest damage dealer in the game for them. Galio's not going to bring too much behind him. So you really want to focus that bottom lane here, and I think that's what the Alistar was for. CC combinations to potentially upset the bottom lane early, because that's what you really have to stop here. If the Caitlyn gets behind, you stand a very good chance as Clutch Gaming to win.
100 Thieves looking to play off that macro strength. They put the Galio in the game. We're going to see Ryu flying around. Last time he was Realm Warp, and this time he'll be having a heroic entrance. 100 Thieves versus Clutch Gaming. We are in Game 3 of this best-of-5 semifinals at 1-1. Who takes next game? Momentum to Clutch Gaming. Feet are on the Rift. Shoes are laced up, and we'll see what happens in the early part here. Meteos again on that Olaf. We'll see if they do once again run behind blue, go for a quick undertow, and just get a little early map priority for vision.
And I think it's always worth trying to invade. When you have Braum and Olaf, level 1, it's so ridiculously strong. You tag him with an axe, you hit him with a Braum Q, you're going to get a summoner. So
there they go.
Hakuho is going to have to back off very, very quickly this time, but they will at least get some vision control down. Some pretty cool runes to kind of point out. There's the Aftershock there for Ryu, and you are expecting Ryu to go heavily AP. And because it is more geared towards flat resistances instead of the percentage increase, that can work very well now with that kit and the flat damage reduction from your W while you're channeling your taunt. That is pretty nice. And also interesting to see Solo actually going fleet footwork on the Gnar, which can help to deal with kind kind of the trading back and forth, even the minion damage that you're going to be taking while you are hitting this Cho'Gath, and instead of going for something like Airy, which a lot of people do enjoy.
Yeah, we've been seeing this more and more, the Aftershock on the Galio. It does have a 0.1 AP ratio on it, so it will increase in damage as time goes on with the AP behind it. And like you said, the flat resist to help Galio out because he already has just flat damage reduction on it, and then it makes his damage reduction even more because of the fact that it's based off of his MR when he's using his W. So it helps out the Galio a lot. And the fleet footwork is something that you're not always in love with in terms of the top lane Gnar, but it does help him out early just to kind of pressure and stay even. It has been the adjustment, though, that we've seen kind of take over with Overheal.
Yeah, it can also work pretty well as far as like when these matchups can get very difficult is when Someday gets 2 tabbies, if he goes Thornmail, if he has like these sorts of things where you are just taking too much damage, he's out-sustaining you with his passive. Every time you auto him, the range minions are hitting you. These sorts of things can allow you to get whittled down. Even the Warble spikes, the E pass-through, can be hitting you and kind of poking you down. So it does allow you to withstand that and hopefully trade a bit more aggressively because this is a matchup that you really want to be winning. Going even is a loss in this matchup.
It's going to be really tough, too, if Someday does get ahead, gets to his banner. We see very little dematerializers on the map this game, and that will have an even bigger effect. Still got a ways before that happens, but something to make note of. Meteos warding up his bottom side as he keeps himself low to get through quick.
And you can see what Lyra did there is he went from his blue, got his wolves, goes for the Scuttle Crab. No sneaky drakes this time for Meteos on the Olaf, making sure, he did that before he was even level 3, making sure that he just got that vision control.
Aframu dips in and out. Not sure he got full vision there, but he definitely saw that blue was down and what the direction of Lyra may be in his pathing. Fev been doing a good job of keeping the waves pretty even, as Ryu may be able to get some good winds of war in soon and start getting that lane pushed a little bit.
One of the things that can be kind of difficult with Galio, until you have enough AP, is that you can kind of sometimes, with your Q, put the minions at pretty low HP, but not necessarily be in a position to actually finish them off, and then they can be denied by your own minions. So it does expose you when you're moving forward to really taking that extra damage.
And the nerf that kind of pushed Galio away from being the top tier, or at least that S tier mid laner, was the cooldown on his Winds of War. His primary damaging ability went up 2 seconds in max rank. So it ends up being this spell that, like you said, Azale, you throw it, you now have this larger window where you can't actually finish off the minions with another Q. And so you can end up in a worse spot. So it's hurt his laning phase and also hurts his late game too.
Even around the map looking at CS. No jungler intervention just yet as we have a back from Meteos. Again, same buy for him. 3 games in a row. Feeling good on this Olaf and just trying to keep the consistent gameplay in those minds and in his mind and in those hands. Krugs and possibly some bottom attack here. They're keeping it just in front of the turret at that 75% mark, but they may have a good gank possibility for Meteos here in a second. Never mind, they warded.
Going to be going pretty defensive here with the Doran shield into the Ashe.
Yep.
But Meteos is here in the bottom lane, so if Clutch steps too far forward, you can look to W forward to a minion on Braum and try to tag someone. Here they go.
Oh, just short. Oh, flashes forward for it anyways. They're going to be able to get the concussive blows. Meteos flashing forward. Undertow 1 miss. Undertow 2 looking for the hit. It does get it, but Hakuo with the passive lockdown as well. Able to save his AD carry, but himself, yes. Nice job by Clutch to escape, but Summoner's blown all over.
And actually, such a good job peeling there by Hakuo. It looked like he actually headbutt Cody-san away to stop a lot of that damage. Then he flashes back. He's able to get the slap for the stun onto Meteos, so really nicely done. And Lyra lying in wait here. Remember, no flash or exhaust on Aframu.
Yeah, he'd have to jump to Cody-san there to get out. But if Hakuo goes for a combo or if Aframu steps too far forward, but I don't think he will. This is a pushing minion wave towards 100 Thieves. They should just play safe. And that should just be standard.
And Aframu kind of just hugging Cody-san right now. So if they did get in, should be able to get him to walk out at least. Pretty hyphy in the bot lane to start things off again as we expected. And both junglers make themselves present. And Lyra, I think, was able to dip out with 2 more without any information there being given over, though.
And you can see Ryu, because he was getting pushed in, Fevin was actually able to go back to base without teleport and still get back in time to collect the minion wave. So definitely a nice little advantage there. And Ryu is going to hold on to his TP. He likely should be back. He won't really lose much, but having that teleport adds so much additional threat in the side lanes. It makes it very hard for someone like an Alistar to play more aggressively, especially as you hit level 6, and there's the threat of TP into the Grand Entrance.
That's what Ryu likes to play for, and kind of what Fevivin's stats say that he doesn't play for, right? He has large CSD for himself where he likes to push the lane, doesn't like to roam a whole bunch, and more focuses on the lane. So they've been banning the Talia and the Rise away from Ryu in this match, trying to make it so that he can't actually roam or out-roam Febivin, but he has that Galio now, which with the TP and the Hero's entrance, he'll be able to accomplish. So it's kind of on Febivin to either pressure him enough to keep him in lane or get the roam advantage first.
And that's almost always, I think, what Febivin is going to do is just try to pressure his opponent in lane and not roam. He's actually, I believe, the guy with the lowest forward percentage of any of the mid laners. He does not play on the enemy side of the map very often. He likes to stay in lane. He likes to say, all right, you're going to roam. Well, I'm going to punish you and get a guaranteed CS advantage. I'm going to whittle down your turret. I'm going to be strong later in the team fights, and relying on his team to sometimes get out of those plays and kind of avoid the enemy mid laners' roams on their own.
And people usually come to him. Sometimes Hakuo with advantage will come towards the mid lane and try to set him up. But it usually has been pretty quiet around the mid lane for him. Even when he was up against Bjergsen, he was able to neutralize pretty much all of the matchups he's had or have at least a winning lane for himself.
Oh, Apollo, Afro's behind him.
Yeah.
Minion wave. He's going to miss it just in time, so he can slalom himself to safety for a moment. But this is actually making Apollo feel even more safe. But then he thinks, why is Cody's son still there by himself? That's flash down. You got to remember from the last play, 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit, and that's going to be some nice gold to be picked up by the bot lane of 100 Thieves, playing safe and secure.
So smart from Aframu, just camping it out in that bush. So much patience, waits until they have Apollo in that perfect spot, knowing the flash is down, knowing there's no way to escape, even blowing the exhaust to guarantee he's able to tag that Winter's Bite, and they get the stun, followed up with the trap. Just really good stuff, honestly.
Seeing both AD carries get taken advantage that way. Cody's son, or I should say Apollo, this time, Cody's son last time in a previous game. So they're getting themselves, they want to be farming, and the AD carries want to carry because they know the pressure is on them.
And it is somewhat concerning because it's not just the first blood, but it's also, 20 CS deficit now on top of that. So here is Aframu. Does actually get tagged. So not sure if there's an animation difference that Apollo could have actually noticed. What do you see?
Well, you would definitely hear it, but he already hit minions,
I don't think
you
he
may
does.
not tag it.
I don't think you see the number in the bush. You just see the arrow not go as far, but it seemed like it was almost max range there anyway.
Hard to notice.
So it's very hard to notice. But Aframu plays it patiently, and he doesn't risk anything either. He goes for the exhaust first to make sure that he can hit confirm the auto and the Q.
Making sure you can lock it down, no questions asked. We do have that Hex Flash on Hakuo. Not sure how much they want to go in right now with that semi-advantage over to Cody's son. Not really in damage, though, as we see a Shockwave in mid to deter Ryu.
Denies the cannon from him.
It's that high-level gameplay.
But he is edging out a pretty nice CS lead here, right? You use that Shockwave fairly liberally in laning phase. You see Ryu moving down to the bottom side of the map, though. Perhaps looking to get in place for an ultimate. Potentially 4-man play here. Beautiful hawk shot. Looks like it's probably going to spot him out, though.
With those flashes almost up, Aframu has his from the last engage, so that would have been huge, as you were saying. Ryu setting up in the Bramble Pit. Didn't have the opportunity to get themselves right in. Oh, maybe the flash now. Maybe the rotation coming down as well. Meteos on the Predator. They're looking for the 80 carry in Apollo. He just got flashback. Literally just got flashback.
He didn't have it.
Oh my word.
Comes up as he dies. It was perfectly timed there. And you saw Aframu and Cody both commit their own flashes to that.
And the way that Aframu knows he doesn't have his flash yet is because of the difference in timing with the Unsealed Spellbook. He has the shorter flash cooldown. As soon as that comes up, he knows Apollo doesn't have his. There's a window to make a play, and they are punishing this Ashe pick so incredibly well with this aggressive play in the early game. They're going to get a 10-minute first turret here. Could have maybe given solo gold over to Cody-san. I'm always a fan of that, but either way, he has picked up a kill. He's cashing out on his call, stacking that up, and has the turret gold.
He's up 1,400 gold right now over Apollo. Apollo has just been getting blasted here in these last few minutes, in the last 3 minutes, where Aframu came behind him, and the rest of the team showed up on this one. But hold on here, someday he will have Ryu in the vicinity.
Pulls it back.
Gotta be careful about the feast.
Not
You
looking
actually
too
just
good,
turn
but
on
they
the
are
Earth
going to
Herald.
have a big Ryu here. Shockwave did come back up. He flashes forward for the taunt. Lyra taking a lot of damage from Winds of War. His Rift Herald is also having her way with a bit of the HP on the side of Clutch Gaming. Meteos says thank you very much. 40 seconds to pick up the Eye of the Herald. Looks like Ryu's going to walk over and grab that one for mid lane pressure. And Febivin going to have to flash over the wall to get himself out of this one. 100 Thieves is everywhere.
Yeah, really well done. And even, with Someday not actually having the feast off cooldown, he's able to buy enough time for Meteos to just stroll in, take that away so they win on the bottom side of the map, and they're able to respond quickly enough on the top side of the map that this is just really big early advantage.
Yep.
The IE to just a couple pieces of that Essence Reaver.
Yeah, and he's ahead, and then he has the Cole on top of it too, so he's just going to get even further ahead as time goes on if it's left in a neutral state here.
And you can even just move this bottom lane and kind of set up a 2v1 against Solo to neutralize any advantage that he is getting. And Someday definitely is behind, and Solo has been doing a pretty good job, but this is around the point when you're level 9, when you have tabbies, when you have some mana built up, that it can become harder and harder and harder to push you out.
And we talked about it in the draft phase where a lot of this is on Cody Sun's shoulders. You look at his other lanes, you look at Someday, he's behind 20 CS. The mid lane behind 20 CS as well. He's kind of the one who now has the advantage. They've been playing towards him and putting a lot on his shoulders here. Clutch could have been able to sniff that out, of course, and be like, this is the winning lane for them. But it looked like they didn't play safe enough here, and you're seeing what that does to 100 Thieves.
And it's not even just the lane that has a draft advantage, it's the lane that must win because he's the one who has to do all the damage in team fights, right? Yes, there is some burst from Galio, yes, there is some burst from Cho'Gath, but they are not consistent damage dealers. It really is on the back of Cody Sun that he has to pump out the damage in these team fights, especially if you go late.
And with what we're seeing 100 Thieves bring to the table, it looks like a lot of practice makes perfect. Cho'Gath again, Olaf again, Caitlyn again, switch out an Orianna and a Morgana, and you have basically the same composition as the first game. They're going back to these picks that feel super comfortable and something they have played multiple fights on recently, most likely.
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? If 100 Thieves is going to continue to get these picks, if Clutch is not going to show you that it can't work or pressure you off of them, then you can just continually go back to that same comfort draft.
Lyra looking towards top side for a Shrine and a bit more speed from Scuttles. And looks like we'll get a blue trade off here on the right side of the map. 100 Thieves is open. What kind of fight can they actually escalate from this? It doesn't look like too much. Pressure in the mid lane from Ryu. And this should be going over to Meteor.
I am interested to see that the Caitlyn lane actually has stayed bot as Clutch is trying to move up to the top side. Look to see if he can pressure Someday off.
Somebody doesn't have flash.
He does have Feast, though. It's pretty hard to dive a Cho'Gath who has tabbies here, and he's just going to stay around.
Yeah, because Ryu's ultimate just came up again off of cooldown, so Ryu would be able to get there if he plays that side. And now you can see 100 Thieves are just roaming up from the bottom side of the map after shoving it in. Apollo has to catch that wave, so this gives them time mid to start pushing it up. There's the Rift Herald use.
Crush in the eye.
Nicely done. I mean, Caitlyn pushes out bot, moves up to mid. They have the Rift Herald. They have everyone in position, and Meteos even on the side, kind of threatening to cut off Apollo, and Apollo is actually getting zoned out because of that. Can't come to assist.
And it's actually just forced into play. Meteos walked over a ward that's just past River, right behind Blue Buff. So they know he's been in there, but they just can't do anything about it right now, and he's able to walk out freely with creating that pressure.
It makes Apollo have to back earlier than he'd like to,
Yeah.
and it means that this wave will slowly push back towards 100 Thieves, and this leaves kind of a wave that you'll be able to catch later. So yeah, Apollo doesn't want that to happen. So he wants to fast push this, make sure that it ends up on the other side of the map, and so that they don't have this gigantic wave to collect that they can get at their leisure. Instead, now you can see the lane swap coming out from 100 Thieves. And they'll be faster on this too, because Apollo, he had to clear that wave, so they'll be very delayed in getting to top side. And they might save this turret.
They're likely going to keep that turret alive and look to continue to pressure here. I mean, if you can draw then people up to the top lane, there's potential for Ryu to just be able to knock down the rest of the HP off that mid lane turret, because it has been 100 Thieves making moves around the map, knocking down the outer turrets very quickly, in these last couple of games, and they're looking again to do that.
And the way they do that is move that Caitlyn around, right?
Yep.
She has that large gold advantage. The Cull still 19 CS to go, but
He's
he's
already
up.
at 1,400.
He's already 1,400 up, but that lead hasn't gotten any larger for him since that first turret went down.
It's a very good point. You gotta go back and spend that gold. Make sure it happens and make sure you push it a little bit more. Meteos nicely in the back to create that false sense of security if Clutch Gaming thinks they could initiate.
Exactly. Meteos is just shadowing these lanes, and because Lyra isn't there, they have to just kind of seed this and give it up. Clutch Gaming are in the mode where they have to give up these advantages. It sucks for them, but they do have to kind of watch those turrets drop and not have really much to say about it right now.
Buddy system everywhere. We're not seeing Cody Sun break off of Aframu too much. Looks like Ryu is ready to get to anyone if they want. Lyra, oh, very nice flash for Lyra to get right to Cody-san. Follow-up damage, what a beautiful play to turn this one around. Clutch Gaming inside the head of 100 Thieves as Aframu said, this is on me.
Well, Clutch Gaming, so far they've been really good at identifying the win condition for 100 Thieves. In the last game, it was the macro play and having kind of the switcheroo to Baron. Here, it's Cody-san. He's definitely the win condition here. If you get him ahead, he's going to start destroying the game and getting those outer turrets. They catch them in rotation, and Lyra has a great outplay there to snag Cody, and even the hero's entrance couldn't help him.
Very fast fingers from Lyra there, reading Aframu's Glacial Fissure, and we'll see it again once more.
Now here it is one more time. Lyra just flashing over the Glacial Fissure. So well done. Pulls him back into Apollo's Ash ultimate, so the CC layering on point there, and that's just a straight up Skarner outplay.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Lyra feeling good about this, and that's kind of what we thought he would be doing last game. Now that he has the advantage to start doing it, he may continue.
I mean, we were sitting with 2-0 for 100 Thieves, and I was sitting here going, are 100 Thieves going to win this game because they have this advantage on Cody-san, and Lyra's going to suffer his first loss on Skarner this split? Lyra's saying no way. He wants to go 7-0 on this guy, and Skarner outplay, it sounds almost like an oxymoron to me at the time. I'm like, whoa there. I just clicked on him, you know? That's it. Skarner
flash.
Full range ultimate, man.
But it is very true, though, right? I don't normally think of Skarner as somebody who has like high outplay potential, but Lyra there definitely outplays Cody-san, who had flash the whole time.
And that's kind of the fun ability that is flash, right? There's always a chance to kind of outplay your opponents with that summoner, and that is why everyone really takes it at the pro level.
Yeah.
I mean, even Olafs these days are on flash, right? No one is really using Ghost anymore whatsoever because the ability has so much utility for dodging, for aggressive plays, for defensive plays, going over walls, etc. So utilizing it to its fullest.
We're all amazed. Captain Flowers is like, I told you. That's how it works. 2K gold lead for 100 Thieves. Even after those plays, Clutch still has a bit to scrape back here to get themselves even on the map. And it looks like it's going to be a mid lane for 100 Thieves here. A bit more pressure. Flash forward. He stands on the minion to get himself right in range. Beautiful plays left and right. If Clutch has one, 100 Thieves has to make one happen.
Here, though.
They may have put themselves way too close into the fight. Meteos goes down after he gets impaled and dragged into the turret. And Clutch Gaming was able to say, no, this one's ours.
Well, they just won that fight, and Apollo's in the side lane. He wasn't there. He was shoving the whole time. He got the top turret. So now Clutch Gaming, they're going to start looking for even more objectives here because the Ocean Drake is on the table too. So that's a big fight.
Yeah, 100 Thieves didn't feel like they could respond perhaps to the Ashe. So they feel they need to make a play right now to try to punish that. They do get the kill on Pevin, but the turret is still alive throughout that entire fight, pushing out a lot of damage there. And as the rest of the team collapses, Solo especially going Mega Gnar was huge to be able to kind of scoop Aframu back into the turret.
Oh my word. Someday. Put a grab on the Drake, gets himself out alive. Ocean and Cloud Drake for them now as we see this mid lane.
Watch Hakuho right here, the response. The headbutt pulverized onto 2. Cody flashes away, so now he doesn't have any way to really contribute to this fight. He starts hitting Solo, hitting the turret, and even there, that forced Meteos to flash in, so he doesn't have it to get out. So Hakuho hitting 2 people with the headbutt pulverized changes the amount of damage that ends up on Febvin, keeps him alive for longer, and then allows the turret to deal more damage during that time.
See where the movement is. Everybody resets, spreads back out. We already got top laners in the bot side. They haven't gone back recently as they duke it out back and forth. Solo now 1-0-1 on this Gnar. They're still going up against the Cho'Gath, but it feels like he can do it. Just now in a different champion.
And now is the prime time for Clutch Gaming to use something like Solo's Mega Gnar plus Flash, or even Febiven's ultimate onto Cody-san, because he used his Flash in that last fight, and the Baron just spawned. If you can win a fight here by catching the primary damage dealer on 100 Thieves and making sure that he drops, then you're going to be able to maybe pick up a Baron or quite easily, unless, of course, you know, someday shows up again. That Feast, yeah. As a jungler, that ability kind of tilts me. Like, my identity. I'm supposed to be the one contesting another jungler.
Oh.
Oh.
So he tried. He tried. He knows what he needs to do.
Does he have ultimate hat? Just cooling down.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
Just cooling down. Unfortunate then. From the mid lane turret, probably going to go down here. Meteos flexes the muscles. They can't handle it. They back off for now. Lyra doesn't want to get the Ragnarok impale down. And we're going to see where they go from here. They say, we'll wait for the wave. We're going to add this pressure to see if we can pull Clutch Gaming to the mid lane.
And it's worth pointing out that, again, 3 games in a row, we are in this pretty measured state as they are looking for Afro move.
Ooh. The ones, the twos, everything's just a little too short, but the Impale is not. Lyra makes his way there with some exoskeleton speed, and they are able to drop Afro move.
It's a really nice kill for Clutch, but again, this game is starting to feel like it's one of those games that is going to come down to Baron. Who gets the Baron? How does the fight go around that? Because when both teams are playing fairly risk-averse, when both teams are playing very patiently and slowly, you put the game in a state where one team fight decides it.
Yep.
That all-important team fight, whether it's 25, 30 minutes into the game, is likely going to mean more than just the win. It's going to be the Baron.
Ooh, Ragnarok onto Hakuo. They say this is true damage as he swings recklessly. Taken down. Hakuo, the support's finding themselves a little hung out to dry right now as we lose both in the last few minutes.
And no way to get out of that either. When
Straight to Baron.
the Olaf is on you. Yeah.
Now they had Someday this time. This is the reason Clutch Gaming was able to pull 100 Thieves off. They caught Someday just a little short of the Baron pit. Now, with Hakuo down, they're going to pressure.
It's a 5v4, and Solo's Meganar just expired, so this is going to be tough to take. Ryu's behind them. They're going to go for the flank.
Oh, the triple taunt! They got the priority target of Apollo. Damage doesn't even need to be done. The turnaround from Fevin, the arrow hits. It's going to be on to Meteos.
Oh,
Cody Sun has to flash. What a turnaround from Clutch Gaming. Fevin and
They're going to go for the Baron
does it
now.
again as Solo finds the kills to secure the fight. And Baron for Clutch Gaming.
Fevin just turned that fight on its head with that shockwave. That was incredible. In game 1, it's Ryu with the shockwave, and this time Fevin says, I can do it even better.
Absolutely ridiculous. He makes himself almost fly under the radar in these fights. You don't even know where the ball is. It's definitely not on him. And he is able to hit these ults when you least expect it. We'll be seeing that one in a second, but this is how, again, 100 Thieves has been kind of turned on their head. Clutch with a beautiful fight rebounds.
And you saw the TP came through from Solo. Ryu looks like he's going to clean this up.
Back the
Apollo
ball right here.
flashes. And yeah, the ball actually goes from the side in.
It was hiding under Ryu.
That was a max range shockwave. Catches all 3 of them on the outside of it. Perfectly placed. Completely turns it around. Allows Solo to go forward. I mean, that is a play that looked like it was great for 100 Thieves. It's a 5v4.
100%.
Solo is not in Meganar. That looked like the right play to go for, but when you play the style that 100 Thieves is going for, so slow risk averse, then they're betting it all on one Baron play each game. 2 out of 3 games that has gone wrong, and that may be what decides this.
And I was talking at the very beginning of this game where, hey, it was one mistake. You said it as well, Azale. One mistake, it's a big one that you get punished for. And if Clutch win this, it is double match point for the 6th-seeded team.
I mean, that's the thing. One mistake at 5 minutes, one mistake at 8 minutes or 12 minutes, it means so much less. When it's one mistake at Baron, at 20-plus minutes, you are losing that team fight, you are losing the Baron. Losing the Baron means you are likely losing multiple turrets, and that just is so devastating.
And we said that the win condition for 100 Thieves is kind of Cody Sun turning on and having a great game.
Right.
But on the flip side for Clutch, they had these winning solo lanes that are now both up 40 CS apiece. They weren't able to contain Cody Sun during the start. But once they got his flash, you're able to really...
A lot of wards.
Yeah, it's a lot of wards.
Definitely got that one covered.
I don't know. I feel like they could use a few more in there.
It's like a forest at this point. Another zombie ward.
Hey!
There we go.
Give me more!
Yeah, that's the bush you want to camp, because that's the bush you're like, for sure they can't see in here.
And they're going from the side. There's the ulti.
Oh my word, they lock
Meteos
down
behind,
Ryu.
though.
That's going to be huge. They get the Meganar ult in. No, Fevin very low. That's a huge shockwave to not go off. Ryu tries to get himself down to lock down Lyra as Cody Sun is firing free on the back line for DPS. And they are going to get the fight over Clutch Gaming. Solo running for the hills.
And Meteos found the flank there and just trains down Apollo by himself. No one in the back lines to help Apollo with him going down. With Fevin getting caught, the fight gets destroyed by 100 Thieves.
Unbelievable the audacity each team has to say, no, this fight is mine, and continue to assess it and go right back into the fight. 100 Thieves, they know they can't go any deeper on the side of Clutch Gaming. They start to back off with their spoils of war from a beautiful fight in mid lane.
I'm looking for that Mountain Drake here for 100 Thieves, which will just help them with the next Baron that's coming up here. But Fevin went down. That's the key thing. His cleanse was on cooldown. Lyra pulled, and I'm helping there with Skarner. He grabs the Galio. CC does not interrupt Galio W. He pulls Galio with the W on straight to his mid laner. Watch this.
But look at Apollo as well. I mean, the mid laner gets taunted, and Apollo is just getting trained down in the back. No one is coming to target Meteos. No one is coming to help Apollo whatsoever. And that is just an over-aggressive dive, and definitely a mistake there.
Yeah, it looked like Solo went back and tried to wallop him, but then it's like, I can't stun him. I can't actually peel him off of him. So there's nothing you can really do to help Apollo in that situation with the Olaf on him, but Febiven's the one who also has pressure on him, so he's shielding himself, trying to take care of himself.
And that's why you need to make sure that you have established battle lines, that there's not someone coming from behind, because if Meteos tries to do that and run through all 5 members, everyone turns, you focus the Olaf dies, your Ashe is now safe, it's a different fight. But when you go for these aggressive dives, when the fight turns into these different skirmishes on different sides, things get very scrappy, and a champion like Ashe is very weak in those sort of scrappy, skirmishy fights.
Imagine if Febiven was not in the middle of that. An early Leandries for himself, extended fights, madness ticking up on the Leandries. He is going to shred people.
Well, he's also the primary damage to the Olaf because he doesn't have any magic resistance, so you wanted to have the Orianna freed up to just kind of throw the ball and bash this guy. And right there, when he got pulled into a taunt, the CC layering from Someday was perfect. Right on top of it, easy, throw your Q, throw your W. They were instantly able to just take down Febiven before he got the ultimate off, like you said.
I think both teams know now there are explosive fights to be had. We've seen one go Clutch Gaming's way and one very quickly go 100 Thieves' way. And now we're going to get a little bit of tempered play for the time being as these waves are cleared up. Solo's rotating up from that bot lane as he has nowhere to clear safely. And they're just kind of waiting for the map to reset here. Next, Mountain Drake, but 3 in the favor of 100 Thieves, as they've done a great job at keeping control over the objectives.
And this has been a hell of a series because it's been even when we hit 20, 25 minutes in every single game where these teams are just so similar, where they're playing some tank top laners that try to fight for some advantage, the control from the junglers who try to make a play in the team fight, and then it's that AD carry for the late game with a playmaking support. Like, it's pretty much who's playing a little bit better as a team on the day that'll take this series here, and we're seeing it go back and forth in the middle of these games.
Yeah, it has been incredibly well matched, and it's again one of those cases where no one is really giving Clutch a chance.
It's 1 versus 6.
Exactly, and I mean, going in up against TSM, everyone's saying, all right, 3-0 TSM. Coming in against 100 Thieves, predictions on this, both 3-1. But this is looking like a much tighter series than that. It may still end up with that score, but I mean, Clutch is extremely competitive, is really pushing these teams to the limit.
I love the fact as well. Right into the fight. Shockwave as well. Double hit there. He did get out, and they're going to be able to possibly turn this one around, teleport to the right side from Solo. He is 75% in the barn. I'm sure 100 Thieves does not like that visual at all. Just a few more hits and he could hop in.
When he goes in though, Ryu will definitely ulti on whoever his target is and kind of destroy him. So he's not jumping in immediately, but Cody-san, the fast fingers there, getting out right on time.
Really nice flash, but the thing is, Shockwave relatively low cooldown at this point of the game. You can see it's closing on a halfway cooldown. That flash is going to be down for quite some time. So they can look to make an aggressive play as their ultimates come back up, as their summoners come back up with Shockwave, with Ashe Arrow, and with Skarner ulti.
Exactly, but now Cody-san has the QSS for the Skarner ultimate in the future. He just picked that up right there, making sure that this win condition for 100 Thieves that needs to pump out damage and now doesn't have the flash is a little bit safer, but it's still a very unfavorable situation because the Baron is up in 10 seconds. Febiven will have that ultimate like you said, Azael, and Febiven has things like flash, so you have to protect Cody-san here on 100 Thieves side because they're gunning for him. They've thrown so much at him, team fight after team fight, Ashe Arrow, everything. And they're trying to make something stick. And if something does stick, he's most likely dead.
And the ball on Hakuo. Certainly potential to be delivered by Solo, by Hakuo, who both have flash available. They can flash in there. Meteos looking for the flank, but just going to clear out some vision for now.
Everything is so tense. Ultimate coming up. They only have Someday in the eyes of Solo, so they're not going to look to flip that one around. Like you said, Ryu could just go in as well and negate a lot of that damage as they jockey for position in this mid lane. But more so, it's heading up towards that Baron, waiting 1 minute for this Drake.
It's also why Ryu is trying to stay not in front of them, so they cannot interrupt any potential ultimate coming in. He needs to stay a little bit off to the side, be in range of that ultimate though, and for now he's going to go get those sideways pushing. You can see both bot and top are going to be pushing now, 400 Thieves, And that is something that Clutch is going to have to answer, but there's no teleport on Febvin. There's no teleport ready on Solo. So that is going to give map advantage to 100 Thieves, and they're going to be the ones who have an opportunity to pressure here, because that wave from bottom side especially is massive.
Yeah, either they answer it and then they're at a disadvantage, or they try to make a play here in the very near future and try to make it so that everybody from 100 Thieves has to collapse. And they just keep pushing and fighting for mid-priority here.
Ash Arrow is up, so they could look, but I mean, you have to pull the trigger pretty soon. That bottom turret is going to die, and then it's going to be on towards the inhibitor.
But they may just say it's not worth it to actually get that bottom turret with the, or at least the minion wave, not get that minion wave, because it's going to die, but if you go to the bottom side, you're going to lose Baron instead of just the turret.
Yeah, it becomes really tough. It's just a question of how much is too much, right? The tier 2, maybe that's okay. Is the inhibitor? Probably not.
It means the mistake from Clutch was minutes ago instead of in this moment here, because now they're stuck in this decision.
Kind of something we couldn't see happening, but now comes to fruition in that bot lane. But how is the pressure kind of taken? Oh, the flash, pie to the face for Apollo as he just takes that one, but no initiation. Someday and team are able to back up, resorting to keeping away from Hakuo's initiation.
Yeah, that was the flash from Febvin there, so he won't have that in the team fight, and there's the threat of Meteos training him down and going after him again.
And now it's Apollo trying to go up to the top side to clear that out, but this wave is massive. It's going to be on the inhibitor turret at the bottom side now, and that is going to kill the inhibitor turret. Straight up, Meteos is saying, all right, I'm just going to get the Mountain Dragon while all this is happening. They don't know where he is, so still no one is going to respond until just now. Febvin looking like he's going to make the call, and this is actually kind of awkward timing.
He's moving away.
Okay. Ooh. They don't know where Meteos is, so they don't feel it's safe to go do this, because if Meteos is over by Baron, they could just be losing this, but I mean, are they just going to lose like an inhibitor?
You know, Isaac, you said earlier, these games that kind of go even, back and forth, usually come down to a Baron, and that's exactly what this looks like, but due to different circumstances, as 100 Thieves are just kind of working the map without being there.
Well, they're going to be okay on Clutch Gaming side. That turret's not going to go down.
Right.
The fact that the cannon minion spawns for them, and then it's all the way now at the tier 1 turret for, or tier 2 turret for 100 Thieves, meaning it has a long way to go. So they have a minion advantage on their side that'll push out now for Clutch Gaming.
Oh. Pressure start. Ball move continues the damage onto Baron, and we are off and running. The jockey.
They're just trying to bait.
Happens. Ultimate comes in. They are turning for the fight. They grab Cho'Gath, knowing the fight's on the backside, and they're able to damage down Sunday, but he's doing a damn good job at staying alive. They're onto Solo now. Hakuo still has Cody Sun. He might be able to defy a bit of that. And Cody is not able to get these shots in. Now setting down some traps, waiting for the shockwave. He is just outside on the edge. A 3-man pulverized. Hakuo gives his life up for possibly.
Someday reach it back
Gaming to get in. Someday looking for the chomp. Finds Apollo rather, and they are going to be into the fight. Now they're onto the Baron. What a back and forth from Clutch and 100 Thieves.
And Someday got out of the fight with just a sliver of health, but he has the Warmogs. He heals back up. He comes in for the flank. They will get the Baron, and they have minions mid. They can actually just march down and knock down an inhibitor. I mean, these are some long death timers.
Looks like they're going to back fast, reset just for a second, but be right back in the face of Clutch Gaming. What an extended dance in the mid lane to then get the upper hand. Here it is again.
And Clutch Gaming, they don't play a risky game. This is a Baron bait, not a Baron attempt. They know that Someday can steal it, but Hakuho on the side gets disrupted for so long that him actually locking down Cody Sun is no longer a reality in this fight. Cody Sun starts coming in after, and Someday was able to live for long enough.
Ooh, that shockwave missing is really the game changer in that fight. If Cody Sun gets tagged there, he could have gotten bursted down, and you know, I don't think Clutch were expecting to lose the 4v4. I think they were making the bet that, hey, if Hakuo keeps Cody Sun out of the fight, we win the 4v4 because he's supposed to be the one that it's about. He's supposed to be the one who brings that damage, but not only was somebody able to get out, he re-enters the fight and brings that feast, which was so punishing. And despite all the work that Febvin did, much of that was regened up because of the Warmogs on Sunday.
Absolutely crazy. Like we said, extended fights. And like it's going to favor that Warmogs. The chomp in gives them a bit of damage. We're searching about the 2,500. It's those impact plays that Sunday's making in these fights, though, that are really counting. 12-7, 35 minutes in. Now on the outside of the base as they go around the horn. One of those inhibitor turrets inhibits is down. Now they're going to go for mid.
Remember, they have double Mountain Drake here for 100 Thieves, so these turrets pretty much are like butter. Or knife through a butter, I guess. Only
hot
do
knife?
that one more time. Hot knife through butter. There we go.
There it is.
Third tries the chomp.
There you go.
You can see Solo building towards that Blade of the Rune King, trying to have more relevance in the 1v1 against Someday. It becomes so hard to pressure a Cho'Gath who's this late into the game, becomes this strong, and they can just march it up. You can just tank this straight up as Someday.
Sweet traps from Cody Sun. Love it. Everybody's got something different. Sometimes 3 in the back, 2 in the front, on the outside, straight line. Beautiful.
For Clutch, it's all about the engage. You need a Shockwave combo. You need to find the big Mega Gnar. If you do not get that, you will lose the fight. But there's always an opportunity, and Solo is looking for it, but the Mega Gnar is timing down. 100 Thieves are aware that that is their window.
And also, Cody Sun has Flash again, so the QSS and the Flash for him and the protection of Aphromo is going to be very hard to make something stick here now that he has that Summoner back up. The Baron fight where Febvin almost hit Cody Sun, and Cody Sun outplayed by moving away right at the exact moment he needed to, is what's allowing them to actually push this now.
I'm keeping an eye on Febvin's ball, but also Aphromo. He has to watch when his shield is down. That will stop the movement of the ball, and it will not hit the Shockwave where he wants it. Slowly moving it back and forth, as you have Hakuo also on the side. Febvin's very good at keeping that in a spot where you kind of forget about it, and that's when they're able to make the play. They're taking a lot of damage here, just waiting, but it's almost like they have to. 100 Thieves in such a lead. Clutch Gaming wants to be able to save the base in an all-out fight.
And the Banner of Command cooldown came back up, so he's just able to banner another minion there on Someday's side and just push, and that got them the inhibitor number 1. Looking for number 2 now, because they still have 20 seconds on this Baron.
And again, Solo's ultimate will time out. He's going to be out of Mega Gnar, and I don't think you can fight without that. So should be another inhibitor to 100 Thieves, and they can just look to back off.
The annoying macro game from 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
Courtesy of Crawley and the team. Just pulling Clutch Gaming apart here. And that's kind of been the difference in the series. When they get the Barons, they get them a little bit easier because the fact that their macro seems to put more pressure on the enemy. The pushing bottom wave. The fact that they put Clutch in a decision, kind of a lose-lose, and then Clutch even loses the fight on top of it, means 100 Thieves, they are sitting pretty now with this big lead, the 7,000, 6,000. Where they're up now.
Talked about a few times, maybe getting that Cho'Gath out, but also looking for something for Hakuo for those plays. Brought out the Karma, played well against the Morg. We were a little thrown off for the Alistar pick in there as well.
The order as well was a little interesting too. It just looked like they banned Camille because they thought that Someday would blind pick Gnar, and then they wouldn't have anything to really answer that. So
there's just, it's honestly a really tough team to engage into as an Alistar. It's like who you really want to combo. Well, it's only Cody Sun, basically, or everyone if they're all grouped up or something. But I mean, there's not a lot of good targets here for him, which makes it a very tough game. But he still has had some pretty nice team fights, even just by punching Cody Sun out of the fight, trying to delay and buy that. But that only works if your team is winning 4v4. And as of now, they are not. So we'll see if Clutch can kind of hold on and delay this
and a lot
as 4 Dragon Elder is up.
Exactly. They could get this 4 Dragon Elder here. Whoa. Oh, that's a great use of the Galio E, the back step.
Little shuffle.
In the forward there.
Just electric slide.
Style in there. Solo transforms, though. And the game of the game for Clutch Gaming is get the Cody. See if they can actually catch Cody Sun here, because everybody else's health bars are at like 3+ ticks. It's like, get the guy who only has 2 large bars there, try to burst him out. The one squishy on the team.
Apollo.
Reaching him is an issue. Oh, yeah.
Eyes on Cody Sun and Apollo in the back, but also that Orianna here.
Ooh, Solo's going to back in.
And the minions, right? I mean, the top wave is pushing in, the bottom wave is pushing in. Clutch doesn't get to wait. They need to go now or they're going to have minions on their Nexus.
Hakuo is going around the fight here. He's going to try to flank and get on the back line. They're trying to catch Cody.
They found him.
He's spotted by Meteos, so Meteos can just chase him out.
Exactly. It's such a good position from 100 Thieves.
Nobody's damaging the Elder. They're just letting it do damage. Aphromo says this is fine, not too much overall. Hakuo makes it over. They may try to finish without him there. No, they're going to go for the fight. Great shockwave damage
Cody
coming
in the back,
through. Solo slamming 100 Thieves against the wall, but the turnaround damage is huge from 100 Thieves as they start to wipe down Clutch Gaming. Hook, line, and sinker in front of the Elder Drake, and they'll pick that up too.
And that should do it for 100 Thieves. They're going to TP straight into the base. Only 2 men alive. Elder Dragon up. And the Nexus turrets will crash down. 100 Thieves looking like they're going to take a lead.
Another beautiful back and forth, but it is the lead. Momentum to 100 Thieves as we move to Game 4 at 2-1.
And a hell of a performance there from Cody Sun in those team fights later. dodging multiple abilities that are just gunning for him every single time, very aware that he needs to position correctly. That has been one of his biggest strengths as a player, is not dying, making sure that he's in the right position. And with a team that's backing him up with all of these beef balls, it's pretty easy to do, but he does make it look even easier than that.
And honestly, I mean, this third game, I think, was the most back and forth, was the closest, and was hotly contested of the series so far. It was not just decided, really, it didn't feel at that first Baron. And honestly, Clutch really had control of this game for a small amount of time, but that one mid lane play where they get flanked, where there is the Skarner pulled the Galio on top of his mid laner, it felt like that team fight is really what kind of messed it up, what ended it for Clutch, and 100 Thieves just never gave them another opening to kind of find that perfect shockwave, to find that big fight.
It's like 100 Thieves always find these little really feel-good things. I'm Morgana, I'll steal your Drake. I'm Someday, I'll chomp your Drake. These little things that just kind of heighten them up in confidence in the game, and it seems to really pull through when they need it. So to find out how 100 Thieves closed out Game 3, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. The craziness continues in this best of 5 as 100 Thieves snags a quick lead here. 2-1 now, the scoreline for the series. But again, back and forth within this game, fight to fight to fight, the leads changing hands in a sense, or rather the feeling of who's controlling the game changes hands. And once again, we're taking a look at champions like that. Caitlyn goes over quite quickly to 100 Thieves, Cody Sun piloting that well, and a 4-man tank line built around him this time around.
And I think it works pretty well for what 100 Thieves like to do. The Orianna takeaway was also smart, I thought, but the Galio answer is nice because Skarner Orianna is not going to have an easy time picking on Ryu in the mid lane, which kind of happened a little bit in Game 2, so this is a little bit more stable, and it still allows him to play that kind of map style that Ryu prefers.
Yeah, but there is one weird thing in this draft to me, and it's the fact that Zyra Khan is completely absent from the picks or the bans. And I think we had seen Caitlyn Morg being a counter to Zyra Khan, but Morgana's banned. So the first pick Caitlyn is still going to be vulnerable to a Zyra Khan engage, and it's something Hakuo and Apollo have practiced, so I'm really confused. It was Game 1 and Game 3, how they decided not to pull it out in either of those games, especially now when we look at the way that game played out, and it was Apollo getting hit by a Rupture or an Olaf. It would have been really nice to go untargetable as Xayah and be able to outplay it. But you can see here, he just gets picked on that.
Yeah, I mean, he's still going to get picked on in Zyra Khan pre-6 before you get that.
True,
because there was a very clear attempt to shut them down. And Clutch Gaming kind of went back to that style that we talked about them needing to avoid in the series of not doing too much. You saw a potential counter gank there that they could have gone for with the Hex Flash on Hakuho. They don't do it. And they kind of continue to play more defensive, avoiding and trying to live through these ganks time and time again.
Yeah, and every single one of those plays where 100 Thieves was making a play down bottom, they were expending summoner spells, so they're actually just as vulnerable to a counter. Here, Wisely are up there if he's not willing to follow through on the play. Galio was showing in the mid lane, could not counter that gank. It was a flashless Cho'Gath, and they had Meganard. That's a time where you got to make a play.
Yeah, you can chain CC for 5 seconds and kill that guy.
Right, so we can rightly throw some criticism towards Clutch Gaming for their early game play. While the bot lane's getting focused, you got to make something happen on the other side of the map or be there to protect them. That said, we get into the mid game, we get into those team fight phases, and again, these two teams just slugging it out inch by inch, looking for any kind of advantage they can find.
It's stuff like this that makes me have a hard time criticizing Clutch because they do react to things so well. Hakuho does a great job following up on that kind of engage. You're using Braum to brute force. Solo comes in as well with his Meganar, and all this is a well-timed counter engage by Clutch.
Yeah, there was this. There was also the first time that 100 Thieves tried to force Baron that ended up going completely backwards. You can see here, Ryu has what
almost
looks like
looks
a great
good.
flank, but watch some small execution errors here. Aphromoo doesn't land his Q onto Apollo. He gets away, and then obviously an amazing shockwave by Febiven, which leads to the turn and a Clutch Gaming Baron. And this is where we started to talk about Clutch Gaming. They could be up 2-1. They could be one game away from being in the NA Finals with this Baron, and here's where it goes wrong.
Yeah, and I understand what they're thinking here. They know that he's on the backside. You're going to see Apollo actually hawkshot him. And with the tank out of position, they're saying, hey, this guy can't protect this dive. Let's go. We have Solo and Lyra flanking. But they pull Ryu. He gets his W off, so he's not going to take damage.
Active. Uh-oh. He's taunted Febiven. Febiven is bounce housed. Meanwhile, Apollo is getting trained by
that Olaf,
and the Galio ultimate, so that fight could not have gone more wrong for Clutch Gaming.
It's just this kind of thing where like you're diving a 4-tank comp. In hindsight, you really shouldn't be doing that. Split the Gnar out, abuse your Baron, and then once that went wrong, it felt like Clutch continued to feel under pressure.
Yeah, and I think the Galio bailed out Someday a few times in this game where I think Clutch wanted to have the Skarner to pull the tank and get rid of the tank line, and that wasn't necessary. And then what happened is just like really long fights played out on both sides. The fact that Shockwave missed Cody's Sun was incredibly critical.
Also here. Yeah, I mean, you saw at the end of this fight, the fact that Febiven had like 5,000 damage, but there's 4 tanks. You did 1,000 damage to every tank. If you don't ever get to the 80 carry, you will not win the team fight. And Cody's Sun was protected this entire time, was zoned away for a little while, which gave him a chance, but you feel the desperation start coming for Clutch. Despite landing the Shockwave this time, the flash by Cody's Sun is well timed, didn't panic flash right away, and waited for the engage by Solo. So really nicely done by Cody this game after he got the advantage early on, then the team started making some mistakes. He was the backbone for this game, which is kind of 100 Thieves' identity.
Yeah, and watching Apollo in that fight, he got flashed on by a Galio in one shot with the combo plus a Rupture. So Apollo never really got to contribute in these team fights, partially due to the Ashe, partially down to 100 Thieves play. But as we saw, Dash, during that replay roll, is these fights we're coming down to one missed skill shot here, one landed skill shot on the other side. Really slim margins. And coming into the series, we're like, these teams have similar strengths. 100 Thieves has been a little bit more consistent. They have a slightly better early game. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like, the thing that's actually deciding this series is the in-the-moment team fighting. And it's incredibly close and very high pressure.
It's all about execution on game day, and 400 Thieves right now it is slightly in their favor. But again, we've seen Clutch Gaming in positions where they've had to fight back, you know, as the underdog against the idea that they should be the favorites or should ultimately win this game. My question, though, is 100 Thieves did show us a little something different, right? They did give us that, okay, now we're going to go 4 tanks and we're going to put all of our eggs in the Cody basket, and they still beat Clutch. So where's the response going to come from for Clutch here in Game 4 and then again in Game 5 if they want to take this series?
They need to find a way to make sure that Apollo is on a somewhat safe champion. Zyra does fit that for me, and they need to make sure he doesn't get fallen behind early in the game because Febby seems to be doing just fine. Solo and Someday, so Someday is mostly outperforming the series, but it's not super impactful, and it does feel like a lot comes down to the bot lane.
Jack, Clutch will go back to blue side, still no subs. That was the one game in which Clutch themselves banned Xayah in the first rotation. Would you recommend perhaps they leave that up, try and force it to be available?
They should definitely save it for a Caitlyn first pick. I think that's going to be Apollo's best champion. I wouldn't mind it if they did. You know what? I think they should ban it because I don't want them using a first pick on it, and I think 100 Thieves would be wise to take it. So
right, okay.
Clutch Gaming not picking Zyra Khan is perplexing to me on the red side when the other team is first picking Caitlyn. But they should still first pick Caitlyn based on the comfort they have on that champion. So I think it's a smart ban.
All right, fair enough. It's match point for 100 Thieves. See if Clutch Gaming can tie up the series in Game 4. Don't touch that browser.
Take off your pants, pants, pants. Ain't no time for talk. Take off your shoes, shoes, shoes. Ain't no time for walking.
That's flash down. You got to remember from the last play, 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit, and that's going to be some nice gold. Ryu is ready to get to anyone if they want. Lyra, very nice flash for Lyra to get right to Cody's Sun. Follow-up damage, what a beautiful play! It's going to be on to Meteos. Cody's Sun has to flash. What a turnaround from Clutch Gaming. Febiven and They're for the Baron now. Again!
Oriana. You going Oriana? Oriana dead.
Wait.
Get front line.
Skarner.
I'm doing it.
Go. Oriana pass.
Dead.
Nice.
Oriana.
Great shockwave damage coming through. Solo slamming 100 Thieves against the wall, but the turnaround damage is huge from 100 Thieves. Welcome back to Assist of the Week. During day 2 of the 2018 Spring Quarterfinals, Clutch Gaming wanted an early lead on TSM and decided to attack the bot lane. Hakuo started off with a beautiful Lantern Express and continued to hook and pull TSM in to secure the double kill.
Hook comes through, and now both TSM bottom laners going to be in some trouble. Spin, still trying to walk away from this one, but Apollo's got the damage. One more auto attack should do it. Can he find it? Hakuo, who rips the soul right out of him.